Well, hey everybody, how's it going? Welcome back to our video here. We're going to do a little bit of a recap for you guys from our Honduras vacation. So we're a couple weeks back from the vacation. Hopefully you guys have had a chance to watch all of the videos leading up to this recap. What we want to do today in the video is just go over some tips, some of the things that we did, some of the things we really liked, but then also talk about some pros and cons of doing a destination, meaning like a single destination vacation versus doing a cruise. This has been a fairly hot topic with some of our friends, and we typically go on cruises. That's our normal vacation, if we're doing something big, I should say. So this time with us going to Honduras and staying in one place for the entire time, we want to talk about what were some of the differences that we really liked about that, but then also some things to think about when booking a single destination vacation that maybe you won't like about doing that versus doing cruising. So just give you a little bit of a comparison with that as well. So let's get things kicked off with talking a little bit about what were some, let's do a little bit of a recap, I guess would be the best place to start. So a little bit of the recap. So we drove to Miami from where we live in Florida on the day before our flight, so we could take our time, and we drove across US 41, which is Alligator Alley in South Florida, and took a lot of pictures and stopped at one of the national parks, and it's called Shark Valley. And we took some video from there and some pictures and such, and then made it over to Miami. And the next morning was our flight out to Honduras. And we arrived in Honduras, got to our hotel, which was an hour and a half away from San Pedro Sula, which is the airport that we flew into. And we stayed at the Indura Beach and Golf Resort. That is a Curio Hilton property. So we have the luxury of having some Hilton points from my work and the travel that I do. So we use those points, which paid for the majority of the room for the entire week. We just paid a little bit out of pocket for the points that I didn't have. And then we did several different excursions that were a lot of fun. So we may highlight a few things from those excursions. And the week went by, I think, at a good pace. I would say it wasn't too fast, and we didn't feel rushed. It was very relaxed.
Perfect, yeah.
So you wanted to talk a little bit about the price of our vacation.
Well, now that we've booked a cruise to an 8-night Eastern Caribbean cruise, we've found out that it's actually a lot more than what we spent at Honduras. So price comparison, Honduras was by far cheaper, laid back.
Yeah, I think the price, and that was one of the things that we did when we were choosing where do we want to go on our vacation, because we were pretty set on a single destination, because we really wanted to take in more of the area that we were in instead of jumping from one place to the next. So we searched all over the Caribbean for a place to go.
Yeah. And
Honduras was the least expensive by far. Food was less expensive there. Yes. Hotel was less expensive. Transportation was less expensive. So that's one of the things that you can take into account you have to take into account when comparing the price of one place versus the next, or taking a cruise versus a single destination vacation, because we ended up spending everything start to finish, souvenirs, food, tips, the whole thing. How much did we spend on our vacation?
Gosh,
like $3,500
at the most. Yeah,
it was
and
like
and we still had a lot of money left over.
Right. And so and that would have been if we would have paid for the hotel and not used points. So keep in mind, it wasn't that we got the discounted rate at the hotel or anything that kept the price down. That also includes airfare, round trip for three people from Miami to Honduras. So this is, literally every penny we spent out of our checking account for the vacation, about $3,500 at the most, maybe a little bit less than that. we're doing
and that included excursions too.
Yeah, that included everything: excursions, food, the whole works, everything that we possibly spent at that time.
Now, what we mean by food, we called the hotel ahead of time to kind of get a gauge on what the prices were for the food.
Yeah.
So they told us $13 per plate. That's about an average. It was pretty good. They did a great job of telling us about the average of costs that we're going to spend, and then they told us up front the shuttle was going to be $175. So it was far less than what we spent.
Yeah. And that's one of the things that Kelly is a consummate budgeter, so she wants to know every dollar that's going to be spent on the vacation and where it's going to go. So we called and did our research ahead of time, and that's a great tip: is before you go on your vacation, call ahead, ask what what kind of if you're leaving the country, I should say, what's the average price of food in the area, if I want a good breakfast, lunch, dinner kind of a thing. And most of the times the hotels will share good information with you. The hotel had a couple restaurant options when we stayed there, and we ate there a decent amount because their food was good and we didn't have to go anywhere, which was nice. But we also ate, we did eat at places when we were on excursions and stuff, and it was really super inexpensive to do that. Yes. So overall, compared to what we actually just booked a cruise for October, on Royal Caribbean, and it's an 8-night, so very comparable amount of time, and it is leaving out of Fort Lauderdale. So the good news is we don't have to take a flight, so there's some savings there. But then by the time we pay for the cruise, which cruises are great because you don't have to worry about necessarily paying for food. They have a lot of free food. But keep in mind, it's not necessarily free. You're just paying a decent amount up front for your accommodations and for your food. And then, of course, you have excursions and other things that you want to do on top of that. So for the cruise itself, for 3 of us, because once again, Megan's going to travel with us again this time too. And, we didn't get a extravagant room or anything. We just did a balcony room, which is what we typically do. And paying included, the gratuities included. The only thing we haven't paid for yet is excursions and such. But we're almost up to the amount already that we spent for our entire trip in Honduras. So once we pay for excursions and Wi-Fi for Megan, and I think we're going to do a couple restaurants that are different from the free food, just so that we don't get bored with the food options, we're going to be over the $3,500 point. And we could skimp back and not be over that, but then we're not getting the full vacation like we did in Honduras. So anyways, price is something for you to keep in mind when you're deciding what type of vacation that you want to do. So call ahead to places, and that'll help you really budget out your vacation. All right, so next thing we want to talk about is currency. One of the tips that we would have whenever traveling outside of the United States, especially if you're going to an area that doesn't have a lot of U.S. Citizen travel to those areas, they may take U.S. currency, but if it's not their main form, or at least one of the main forms of currency in that area, then we would actually recommend doing an exchange of your currency to local money. So like in Honduras, the local money is lempira. So we were thinking about exchange prior to the vacation, but we didn't really do it very far in advance. And at that point in time, we were kind of then stuck with either exchanging at the airport at a currency exchange, or maybe hitting like a local bank for currency exchange. So I did a little research, and one of the tips I'll give you is do not exchange your currency at the airport. They charge a very high exchange rate, and sometimes they will shave off a percentage of the actual exchange amount as well. So I would recommend that you do one of two things. What we did, because we didn't plan far enough ahead, is we ended up exchanging our money at the hotel. Now, the only downside to that is they didn't have a lot of lempiras on hand, so we had to do like a little each day to kind of keep the money coming in for us to use while we were there. However, I think the best way to do this is contact your local bank like a week to 2 weeks before your trip and order the amount of money that you would like to take with you in that local currency, and then do your exchange. And if you have an account at that bank, they most likely will not charge you any type of fee to do the exchange, and you'll get the normal current exchange rate. So that would be our recommendations. You can use credit cards and stuff. We're just really leery about using credit cards when we go, especially to a new country or to an area that's that we don't really know very well. So
that's the thing, cruising, most people don't use credit cards, they use cash.
Whenever they're cruising?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I guess it's to each their own. Everybody has their own preferences for that. So, so that would be our tip on the currency piece of it. We ended up, the other good thing about having local currency is that you will pay the true price for something. And what I mean by that is if you're paying in U.S. Currency, they may flex the price up on you because they're trying to cover for any exchange fees that they may have to pay, or just a convenience factor. So I just recommend, having local currency, I think, is the best way to go about that. All right, so next let's talk about the excursions. Want to tell them about that?
Well, I know that Garifuna Tours did a great job, and they had a bilingual guide. Got to experience all the culture with every little island we went to and all the tribes.
Yeah, when we booked the tours, we did some research online, and we came across Garifuna Tours, and we highly recommend them if you're heading to the Tela, Honduras area. That's where they're based out of. And they have a great website. They had some very reputable reviews from TripAdvisor. So we contacted them, and they communicated pretty well via email with us before the trip. And price-wise, it was good prices. It was comparable to excursions on a cruise, but we were able to get a little bit of a discount because we did like a package where they offered 3 different excursions that we wanted to do, all for one price as opposed to buying them a la carte. So that saved us some money, which was kind of nice, which makes it a little less expensive than a lot of cruise excursions. So if you're traveling to a place and you're looking for an excursion company, do some research online, make sure that they're a reputable company, make sure they have good reviews like on TripAdvisor or other travel sites, and ask them if they offer a discount for multiple excursions. They may have it on their website like Garifuna Tours did, but if they don't, just ask, because maybe they have it to offer, and then you might be able to save yourself a little bit of money as well. But they offered us a bilingual guide for each of the tours that we were on, which was outstanding.
It was amazing.
Yeah, they were really good. The tour guides were very informative and a lot of fun. They made the trips fun as well, and told you a lot about the history and the areas and stuff. So.
And they did a great job, especially with the ordering the lunches with the tribes and getting all that taken care of.
Yeah, they were like the liaison for just about everything, which was really good. So it took a lot of the pressure off us trying to figure out what the heck was going on or things like that. So. All right, so we're going to talk a little bit about the hotel. We stayed at the Indura Beach and Golf Resort, like I said at the top of the video, and it's a Hilton property. It's one of their Curio brands, and it was really nice. We really enjoyed it. It was, quite frankly, almost a 5-star resort. I don't know if it's classified that or not, but very pretty resort. They did a great job of keeping the landscape, manicured, great service. Yes. Everybody was very attentive to us, very concerned about our needs and stuff, which was really good. And they did something every night that you really liked.
Yeah, that was delivering a cookies or cupcakes.
Yeah, like just some small little dessert, and every night they'd come knocking on the door and they'd have these little desserts and hand us. So it's just kind of a neat little extra touch that they added to our stay, which was kind of cool. So I'll take the little sweet desserts over towel animals, I think, any day. So it was just kind of nice. So we would definitely give a thumbs up to that property. There are a lot of different places you can stay, obviously anywhere you go. We really like the Hilton brand, and we knew we were going to get consistency, and it also helped that I have points to use towards our stay, which helps with the pricing and such. So that was a benefit for us to actually stay there. obviously hotels are going to depend upon what destination you're going to, but just do your research. Don't just book the first thing you find, because you might find a better deal. You might find an independent place that has really great rooms as well. So YouTube and Google and things like that will be your friend to figure out what type of environment you like to be in whenever you travel. So that takes us to our last piece for us to talk about, and that's our pros and cons of a destination travel versus going on a cruise. So we love cruising. We like some of the pros of cruising, of having multiple ports and getting to see new places. There's a benefit there for cruising. But why don't you tell them, what was your number one pro for staying at a single destination? What did you like best about that?
Price.
Okay, well, price was better, but beyond price, because price will fluctuate based on where you're going. So
I was engulfed in the culture. It was nice to actually be around the culture and stay for a lot longer than I got 3 hours here, 5 hours, 2 hours. It was really nice to be able to stay a lot longer and be able to see that culture. So it was really cool.
Yeah, I agree. We definitely got much more of that than you can get in one day at a destination. We got to kind of fully immerse into it, and coming back, we had to readjust back to life in the U.S., which is interesting. So even though we were only there a week, but it was a lot of fun. I agree with that. I would say that probably one of the things that I really liked about the single destination vacation over cruising is you get to experience more of a place, right? So as opposed to bouncing from one port to the next, one destination to the next, and needing to choose like a couple things that you can fit in that 8-hour, 10-hour window that you're there. We had a week. We could do whatever we wanted. We didn't have to be in a rush to go do something. It was a little less scheduled. So I think that was probably one of the bigger things that I liked.
And the Wi-Fi.
Yeah. So yeah, I would definitely say that Wi-Fi is another big piece of it. Free Wi-Fi. Most hotels are going to give you free Wi-Fi whenever you stay there. So on a cruise, you're going to spend about $15 a day per device. That's the thing to remember about per device, about $15 a day. For Wi-Fi, and it's not very fast Wi-Fi. No. So if you're doing any streaming or things like that. So having free Wi-Fi in the Hilton property was awesome. Our daughter Megan, who's 15, she can't live without Wi-Fi for more than probably a day. So she loved it because she could stay in touch with her friends and stuff, which is great. And then obviously I was trying to pump these videos out, one per day for each day that we did something. And that would have cost a lot of money and probably took forever on a cruise ship. So we were able to make that happen too. So that's another.
We'll be able to see, won't we?
Yeah, exactly. So that's definitely one of the bigger things. And one of the other pieces that I think was important too is just the freedom to explore, be able to go do whatever we want to do.
That was nice.
And not have to try to cram it into a certain period of time. So, and that's all going to depend on where you're going, of course, but typically you're going to go someplace there's a lot of stuff to do, and this allowed us to do that a little bit more. You liked having a hotel room compared to a stateroom,
right? It was a big room. It was nice, and I had my bathtub.
Yeah, and a bathtub, right? So, I think that was important to Kelly.
Yeah.
So much more.
Megan too. We were both
That's true. That's true. Yeah, they like their baths. So having a bathtub is a luxury on a cruise ship. You've got to have a fairly nice room to get a bathtub. So you get this tiny little shower, where in a hotel room you got a little more square footage to work with, a little more room to move around, and obviously it depends on the type of room you book. But even if you book a minimum size room in a hotel, you're probably going to be getting more square footage and a bigger bathroom than what you get on a cruise ship. So there's that benefit as well, just a little more comfort while you're standing there. One of the things that I really dislike about going on a cruise, and I tolerate because we're going on a cruise, but that's mustard drill. Yeah. So, it's fine, but it's still, it still feels like a waste of time. And I understand it. It's important. Don't get me wrong. But it still takes up your time when you're excited. You just got on the cruise ship, you're wanting to go do stuff, and then you gotta go get corralled with a bunch of other people and stand there and wait forever and so forth. So obviously when you just go to a destination and you're on a cruise ship, you're there, you can do whatever you want. You don't have to go through a muster drill. So so that's something else to think about as well. All right, so let's talk about the cons of doing a single destination vacation as opposed to doing, if you're doing a cruise vacation where you're hitting multiple ports. So the first one is, I think, communication.
Yeah.
So if you are taking a vacation to another country where English is not necessarily a primary language, or that a lot of people struggle with English, then you're going to have to know a little bit of the local language, I think, for it to be a good time. So I would recommend, picking up and learning a little bit of the local language.
No comprende?
Yeah, no comprende. Make sure you learn that if you're going to a Spanish-speaking country. But seriously, learn a little bit about what are some of the, I think, the fundamental pieces, right? Hi and bye and thank you and please and excuse me. Where are the bathrooms? Maybe be able to ask directions, or just really important things about travel and where you're going to be. So I think that's probably one of the tips that I would give you. So when you're on a cruise, you're going to probably be around a lot of U.S. citizens on the cruise ship. The ports that you go to are used to having U.S. citizens come, so they're all going to speak English. Yeah. It's not typically going to be a problem. So that would be one of the cons of destination travel. I guess you could look at it as a pro, though, too, because it's fun. It is cool to be in the culture and part of all that. So I think the next thing that was a clear con of us being in one spot is that, and it's really about like being in a hotel versus being like in a cruise ship. Because in a cruise ship, you have like a lot of stuff all within like a few steps of you, right? So if you like a lot of variety and you don't have to get in a cab or take a taxi someplace to get that variety, and you've got casinos and shows and all kinds of different stuff, right? Mini golf and pretty much everything you can think of doing is typically available on a cruise ship.
Yes.
So on a destination vacation, a hotel is going to have some stuff. Like we had itineraries each night at our hotel with, like music and one night and karaoke. One night. So there are things to do, but it's just not the same type of variety. So it really just depends on what type of vacation that you're looking to have and what you're wanting to have. If you're going with a big group of people, then on a cruise ship is great because you can all go do whatever it is that you want to do and just kind of meet back up. Instead of needing to choose like one thing that everybody's going to do, or a couple things that's all you have to choose from. The other piece too to think about is variety and availability of food. Yeah. So at the hotel, you have food available. There are restaurants, room service, things like that. But on a cruise ship, there is no parallel to the amount of food or variety of food that you can get while you're on the cruise ship. So, and they're again free food. So, at any point in time, you can go to the buffet or get pizza or things like that on a cruise ship. Where in a hotel, you're a little more structured to what food is available and the times that you can get said food. So,
and it changes, the menu does.
The menu changed up at the hotel we were at, which was really good. And if you stay at an all-inclusive resort, which there's a billion of them around, then you'll still get your quote-unquote free food. And probably
drinks.
And drinks, right? So, a lot of times all-inclusives will include drinks as part of that inclusive, which is really nice. You don't have to pay for a drink package. You just get that included, which is good. So food's something to consider if you are a big foodie. We're not big foodies. We'll eat pretty much whatever is available, and we don't have to eat 24/7. It wasn't a big deal. Yeah, when we go back home to St. Louis, that's the only time we ever structure our days around what we're going to eat because of specific restaurants that we grew up with. So, but outside of that, everything else, food is food to us, outside of that piece. So not a big deal. And then I think the last thing, the last con to kind of talk about is really just less convenience of being on a ship, right? So everything at your fingertips, where when you're staying at a hotel, you may be a little more restrictive of what's available to you. One of the things I did want to mention too was I love to be on the water. So there is something to be said about staying on a cruise ship and being on the water 24/7.
No, but you open the door, there's the ocean.
You're right.
Sorry.
You're
That's
right.
not just like it did on the ship.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, we did have a balcony that was ocean facing, so you got to sit out there and listen to the ocean crash. I will say, it was great, but it wasn't quite as good as just being on the balcony of a cruise ship and nothing but water in sight. Like, to me, that's awesome. There again, you may not be that way, but I really like just being on the water.
I felt like I was on the water.
Okay, so not that big of a deal, then maybe, but just something else to think about too when thinking about destination vacation.
And it all depends where your hotel's at too, because if you're at a beachfront, you're going to hear the ocean crashing against your boat,
but you don't get to see flying fish. So,
that's what I want.
I love it. I like to sit on the balcony and watch for flying fish.
Yes, you do.
So that's a good time to me. All right, so I think that pretty much covers everything that we wanted to hit on in this video. So if you liked this video, please give us a thumbs up. Hopefully you've went back and you have watched all of the videos in this playlist, which is our Honduras vacation. Tater gives it a pause up. So please subscribe to our channel, and we'll bring you a lot of our kind of day trips or vacations that we go on, just so you can kind of keep up, and we'll give you tips and let you see some different things that we do. And as always, leave us a comment down below. I would love to hear what you think are, or what are your biggest pros of doing a destination vacation versus cruising, or maybe you don't cruise or never have taken a cruise, and there's a reason why you haven't, or a reason why you stick to just destination vacations. We would love to hear that down below. Or if there are clear reasons why you only take a cruise, we would love to get some comments down below and get a good conversation started about that. So I think it'll be a fairly good debate back and forth based on what people really like to do.
Just to get our thought on it.
Yeah.
Especially when going on a actual land vacation, and it was awesome. I mean, it was cheaper too, so it was amazing.
Yeah, we enjoyed it. We had a lot of fun. Hopefully you enjoyed the videos as well. So click that like button, subscribe, give us a comment. We will see you guys in our next video. Have a great day.
Peace out.